Hi everyone, this is Danielle, also known as Gently Smiling Jaws, and welcome to Not a Flosstube. This is my video to go over the Northwest Tea Festival, which I went to yesterday. It's going on today also, but I was only going for one day. Had other things to take care of today. But I wanted to go over what I got and just sort of talk about the festival in general. This was this year, the 2024 festival was their second year back after the pandemic, and it was definitely very, very busy this year. We'll say that I bought tickets beforehand, went down with a friend. We got there a bit before doors opened at 10. There was already quite a long line for people who had already purchased tickets. And this year, I will say that in a time in the past, there had been kind of issues where the people who had tickets where that line was moving slow in comparison to people who were buying day of. And then they had seemed to clear that up. This year, again, there seemed to be it was bogged down again. It probably took us about 20 minutes or so to get through the line of people who already had tickets to get in. So that was a little disappointing, but not a huge deal. I'm sure that they will work it out, in future years. But when you go into the festival, you get a wristband so you can re-enter. You get a bag, and this was this year's bag, along with a tasting cup. Here's the one for this year, which has the sponsors, Sugimoto Tea and Friday Afternoon Tea. I'm sure there's kind of different sponsor levels for being on the bag versus the cup versus in, mentioned sort of in the little program here. There's more sponsors listed on the back here. I know they were doing some things different this year as far as like presentations, which weren't things you had to sign up for. You could just go and watch them. I've never been somebody to go to the various presentations, so I don't really have anything to say about those. I know there's also like this tea bar thing as well, which I also have never really looked into. When I go there, I'm mostly there to see the various vendors and go through and decide what I want. And that's why you have the tasting cup, because the vendors all have samples for you to try. So you take your tasting cup around and, can try the various teas. So it looks like this year there were 55 vendors, and you have kind of, here it shows you kind of the layout of everything. I'm going to try and remember where I kind of went through and what I ended up picking up. I will say I sort of went in there with an agenda as far as what I was looking to get, and then there was other things that were more, kind of spur of the moment pickups. Say that going into the festival, made a beeline for Crimson Lotus, because I knew I wanted to pick up their white tea cake if they had it at the festival, because then that would save me from placing an order and having it, waiting for it to come from China. So went there because of the line, taking a while to get in. By the time we got over there, they have a really nice, kind of big wood tea table that has, the drain in it, and they always bring that and set it up, and it always kind of draws a crowd of people. And in past years, getting there early and going right to their booth, I've been able, to sit down right away and, have some tea with them and then pick out what I want. This time, purchased some tea, walked around the festival more, waited till there was sort of an opening, was able to sit down, briefly with them, and then ended up getting some more tea. So what I got from them was, this is the first time they've ever done a white tea cake. This is called No Escape. And yeah, so I wanted to get a white tea from them. So I grabbed that. And I also got Beneath an Emerald Sea, which is a sheng pu'er, a raw pu'er from them. And they have done a Beneath an Emerald Sea cake in the past. I forget how many years ago that was. I may have tried a sample from it once, but I never bought an actual cake. So picked up a cake. And that was one that they were, when I was able to try some of the tea. Actually, all the ones I got, were giving, samples of there. Both the white tea, Beneath an Emerald Sea, and then excuse me, it seems whenever I sit down to film these videos, I get a bit of a tickle in my throat. So I'm going to have some of the tea here, which I'm not going to talk about just yet. I'll talk about it when I get to it. So the 3 teas from Crimson Lotus are the white tea cake, the No Escape, the sheng or raw pu'er, Beneath an Emerald Sea, and this is the 2024 one. And then the other one that I picked up later after having a chance to sit down them was this Yiwu Show Pu'er, or show or the ripe pu'er. And I think when it comes to pu'er, I kind of favor the show a bit more, but I will drink any tea. So these this is my most expensive purchases during the tea festival, and that's sort of what I expected. When Crimson Lotus, they're folks that I enjoy purchasing from. I think Glenn and Lamu are great people to buy from, and so I knew that I was going to be spending a chunk of money when I went to the festival. So this is what I picked up from them. Also, right near the Crimson Lotus booth, there was a someone doing pottery. It was called Susanna's Arts was the name of the artist, and she had a lot of lovely pieces in her booth, mugs and cups and gaiwans and shiboridashis, all kind of wood fired. And when I had first seen the booth, there was sort of one cup that stood out to me, and I saw it and I went around, looked at other things, and was still there, and eventually went and found out how much it was. It was a very reasonable price, and I'm trying not to purchase teaware willy-nilly because I have so much of it, but I really liked this one piece, and figured I would make use of it. And it is this cup here, sort of white and gray wood-fired piece, and I feel like that maybe back here you're seeing the color a bit better versus I'm still figuring out the whole lighting situation. But you can see inside of it there is texture, and so I really liked this little piece. I've already used it to drink tea from, and happy to pick it up. So this was my one piece of teaware purchased. I will say there was another artist there with teaware. It was actually Jonathan Steele Studio, and also wood-fired. And someday, it was not in the budget for this time, but someday I will pick up one of his wood-fired teapots with the wood handles on it. There were two that I really liked. He had that were in the same, kind of not this color exactly, but it was a grayish, kind of white grayish wood-fired pieces, and they were very nice. They were also about $400 each, and I'm not saying they aren't worth that. I am saying it was not in my budget for now. So someday, that's a someday thing. But yes, his work is gorgeous. What else do we have here? The other thing I had on my agenda for stuff to pick up is I wanted to go to the MarketSpice booth and get some of their cinnamon orange tea because I enjoy it. And it's not something I drink all the time, but I do enjoy it, and I wanted to get something in bags that I could have at work because work is for bag tea because that's the easiest way to deal with it there. At my last job, as I've mentioned, the work I was doing and the setup I had made it conducive that I actually had a small, at my desk I had a small tea tray. I had, I do loose leaf tea. I had a little gaiwan there, and was able to, and I had actually I think brought in a lot of my tea festival cups from past years, and because they were ones where they do the job, but I wouldn't be heartbroken if any of them broke, and so I would have that at work. I had a stash of tea at work, and I would had an electric kettle at my desk, and I would brew tea for myself during the day. Had plenty of cups, so if anybody else in the office wanted to come in and have some tea, I'd brew some stuff up for them. So that was nice, and I enjoyed doing that, but that doesn't really work in my current situation. So tea bags is the way I'm going, and I also wanted to get enough that I could share with the folks in the office. So what I got was a 50 tea bag of the MarketSpice cinnamon orange, and that was what I had planned to get. And in addition, I got some of their spice cider mix, which is what's it have in here? It says allspice, orange peel, cinnamon, and cloves. They had there, since the vendors have samples, they had a sample of some of this to try, and after having some of that, I'll pick up some of that as well. So I picked up some spice cider mix myself, as well as this huckleberry tea. And I didn't notice when I picked it up, I see it has a decaffeinated sticker on it. I'm assuming that maybe they have non-decaffeinated, just some regular stuff as well. I wasn't really paying attention. I wasn't trying to get decaffeinated. I don't mind that I got decaffeinated, but yeah, it's black tea with, it's got the huckleberry flavor to it. And I just thought that would be an interesting thing to have, and actually that's what I'm having in my mug right now, just because I was feeling lazy and I wanted to just toss in a tea bag and be done with it. And the tea bag's still in there because when it comes to bag tea, I tend to be lazy about it. Just toss the bag in and leave it. As I've mentioned previously, there are some bag teas where I really don't like how it tastes if I leave the bag in, and in those cases I will pay more attention and pull the bag out. But that's what I'm having right now. And it's pretty tasty. So that was the kind of the next thing on my list. The other thing that I did pick up was from a new to me tea company called Wild Coast Brew, and these are more kind of flavored teas, which flavored teas sometimes that's what I want. It's not what I usually go for, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I really like their packaging, and I wanted the packaging. And so I picked some of the ones I had tried. The shadow here with the bat on it was one where I tried the sample and enjoyed it. And so that what is the description on this one? It says herbal, warm, and spicy. Holy basil, black tea, milky oats, cinnamon, licorice root, ashwagandha, and ginger. And yeah, I'm a sucker for the packaging, and so I wanted to pick up some of the stuff. So I was trying to find ones where I both thought the tea was something that I would like, because I think out of these ones that I had, I was only able to sample this one. The other ones that I got, I was able, they had the tea out so you could kind of smell the tea and see what was in it. So the other ones I picked because I liked the labels and it seemed like I would like the tea itself. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so I got this one that was the shadow, the bat on it. I got the Stoic, which has cougar on it there, and this one says looks like madrona bark, cinnamon, cardamom, oxidized fireweed, fennel, peppercorn, conifer needles, and turkey tail mushroom. It's a cinnamony herbal chai, and this one had smelled kind of spicy, so I got that one, as well as this one called the Trickster. It's nutty, roasty, spicy. This one has roasted myrtle nuts, fireweed, artist conch, ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, peppercorn, vanilla. Yeah. So those are my purchases. Hey everyone, Editing Danielle here. I wanted to give an update because it's been nearly a week since I filmed this video at the time that I'm finally getting around to editing it. And during that time, I have actually sat down and tried 2 of these Wild Coast Brew teas. I tried the Stoic and the Trickster. And the Stoic actually surprised me because, as I said, I picked these teas because I love the artwork and was going into it. I was buying it for the artwork and thought, well, the tea will be what it is. But the Stoic I actually really liked. It's like I guess I think of it like chai, but make it Pacific Northwest, because it does have some, very chai-like flavors to it, but there's also like madrona bark in there and conifer leaves. So yeah, that it's something where like I said, I hadn't set my expectations super high for any of this, but this tea I rather liked. Now, the Trickster is the other one that I tried as well, and that one, I don't know if it's the tea for me. I've only tried it once. I'm going to, I'll try it again. I'm going to change some things about how I brew it. I may brew it a bit longer and see what I think of it. But this one may not be the tea for me. But still, I'm glad that I tried them out. And as I've looked over their website some more, I am seeing some other things that sounded interesting and ones that I wished that I had given a try. The tea festival was very very packed, and so at some booths they may have had multiple teas to sample, but maybe you were just trying one of them and kind of moving on to something else. But yeah, the new to me company, and I am glad that I gave them a try. And because I spent a chunk of money, but I was trying not to go so overboard. So I want to go through some of the other some of these other vendors that I want to mention, even if I didn't pick anything up from them. Probably what I want to mention next is Floating Leaves Tea. I didn't actually, I sampled some of the stuff from their booth. I didn't spend a lot of time there just because I knew I wasn't going to purchase anything this time. And the only reason for that is because I have a lot of their tea around already. In fact, when they had their anniversary sale earlier this year, I went through and I'm like, oh, anniversary sale, I should place an order. And I was going and I was starting to pick out some things. And then I thought, before I purchase, I need to look and see what I actually have on hand. And I went and I was looking through my tea stash, and pretty much everything I had planned to buy, I already had. And so I did not place an order. So their tea is very good. I just have a lot of it. But if you are looking for oolong, they do Taiwanese oolong. I would definitely recommend them. Their tea is very good. Their roasted teas, they're starting to roast them in-house. They're learning from a teacher over in Taiwan as far as how to do this. And yeah, I definitely recommend their tea if you are looking for oolong. I just did not purchase any this time around. Who else do I want to mention? And there was also a new to me tea company called Cliché Teas that also they were doing flavored teas, and their sort of thing was going to do with kind of books and reading and tea. And so they had names for their teas that were like Rough Draft, or Enemies to Lovers, or there was one that was pretty funny. It was Write Drunk, Edit Sober. So they had some really clever names, and I almost bought some tea from them, but because I was trying to not go overboard, I ended up not purchasing from them this time. But I may purchase from them in the future, place an order with them, or if they're at the tea festival next time around, I may get some from them. I think I can't remember the particular flavors of certain things. I just remember that the ones I was planning to pick up if I did get from them, I thought that the Rough Draft and that Write Drunk, Edit Sober sounded good. And then I can't remember what the third one was that I was sort of looking at. They had a special going on at the festival, but ultimately I did not purchase from them this time. But I wanted to mention them. What else? There was another, and I'm looking at the map here, and I'm not absolutely certain which vendor this was, but there was another oolong vendor. I tried some from where had sort of just three different, kind of oolongs. There was the more green florally one, and it had kind of different levels of oxidization. So then some that was more, kind of nutty, and the ones that was even more, the darkest one, the most oxidized one, for my taste, the little sample that I had seemed like it had been steeped just a little too long for my liking. And I don't think it was any issue with the tea itself. I think it was just completely a steeping time and my preference sort of thing. And if I had been willing to spend more money than I already did on this tea festival, and I didn't have so much oolong on hand, I would have picked up some of the tea that was there. And I said, I'm going to have to look through and figure out exactly which vendor that was, and I will put it on the screen. I also want to mention Cured Leaves. Last year was, I think, the first time they were at the festival. I picked up from them like a smoked tea, and then I think it was like a white tea that had something else in it. I believe they get their teas from Africa, and I also think they're located more on the East Coast, or at least the eastern half of the US, so I don't think they had a ton of tea that they brought with them to the festival. They had samples out, but there was I don't have to look up and see exactly which ones I had tried. There was something that I think had currant in it that I didn't see that they had out for purchase, but I'm gonna have to look on their website. And again, something where maybe in the future I will place an order directly, with them to pick this up, because I thought it was quite good and kind of a little more unusual, at least as far as what I normally drink. So I'll look that up and stick that in the video. There was also, let me take a look here. I think it was Imomaido, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. They had they were more snacks. They had like kind of vegetable chips. It was like kind of sweet potato chips and kind of a mixture of vegetable chips, and that were quite tasty. And again, if I was spending more freely at festival, I would have picked up some stuff from them, but this time I held back. And there are certainly plenty of other vendors here, because there was a total of like 55 vendors. And again, there's a lot of companies here where I have bought tea from in the past, where either, you know, I still had some around, or just, you know, this time it wasn't going to fit into my purchasing. Like Sugimoto USA, they do genmai cha with matcha in it, and I really like their genmai cha, and I didn't pick anything up from them this time, but that's they also do like hoji cha and their stuff as well. So I do like their tea, although I did not get any this time. Yeah, there's so much tea, and it was very busy this year. I mean, it was really packed, and so ended up kind of going to Crimson Lotus first, and kind of going around the festival, kind of trying to stop at every booth, but in some cases, if it was really packed, I just sort of moved on and hoped to kind of check them out on the next go around. So I'm sure there were some places I didn't, you know, sample from, just because it was so packed, and I sort of knew the kind of, although I certainly open to trying all sorts of tea, there were certain things that I was looking for, and I know that certain things that aren't generally what I go for, and so yeah. And then other places, like there's the Nepal Tea Collective, and I think I got some tea from them last year, which I still have around, and so I didn't go back to purchase any more this time, because again, I have so much tea, and I have to prioritize stuff. And I'm actually going to try and make a concerted effort to try and start going through more of my tea, instead of just getting more, actually making sure I'm drinking more of it, and trying to go back through the things that I have and enjoy it, and particularly find things where I only have a little bit of it left, where I have like samples where I can just drink it and get it out of my stash of tea, and kind of free up space for other teas that are coming in. And yeah, just because the tea is there to enjoy. And to be fair, a lot of the tea that I do get, like the pu'er, part of it is that you can age it. I'm not doing anything in particular to try and get the optimal conditions for, you know, storing my pu'er or anything like that. But you know, it's fine to have it sit around. So I'm not, you know, it's not like I'm having tea sitting around going bad. It's just I have a lot that I need to start moving through a bit more. So I will link to the tea festival in the description, so you can go, and because they have like lists of all the vendors there, and then you can go and look through and kind of check out any folks that you're interested in. But yeah, I know that there are other tea festivals around. I know Portland has been doing one. I have not been to the one in Portland. I know there's also a smaller one in this area called the Cascadia Tea Festival, which I have not been to. Yeah, this festival, I forget how many years. I wonder if it says how many years it has been going on. And I know I have not been to every year. I don't think it says. Let's see. Yeah. So off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly how many years that they've been doing this. I have not been going from the very beginning. Forget how many years in I started going, and then I think I missed like a year or two somewhere in there because I had stuff crop up and needing to go to vet appointments and things like that where it was just unavoidable. But if you happen to be either living in the area or happen to be, you know, in town at the time of the tea festival when it comes around each year, and if you like tea, I definitely recommend going to it because they do have quite a lot of vendors, and being able to go around and try the tea in person, particularly if you're not sure what you like yet as far as tea, or just, you know, the opportunity to try out stuff. It's really nice to be able to try things and talk to the people that have the tea and, you know, ask questions and then kind of make purchases from there. So yeah, I try to go every year, and it is always an enjoyable experience. And so I wanted to share my experience of this year and what I got, and maybe you will find a tea vendor or a tea that you enjoy from hearing about this or seeing the links. So thank you for watching, and I will have my next video will be back to a regular Flosstube in 2 weeks from my last little one. I'm not sure whether I'm going to get this posted the day I'm filming it, which is Sunday. What day is it today? Sunday, the September 29th, or whether it will get posted a little later than that, but we will see. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.